About forgiveness, Namo Buddhaya. Forgiveness is a profound concept that applies not only in everyday life, but also in spiritual teachings. In its simplest form, forgiveness can be understood as the act of letting go of resentment, hatred, or judgment towards someone who has hurt or offended us. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the wounds, but rather accepting that life can be full of challenges, and we choose not to let these pains dominate our lives. In many cultures, particularly in Buddhism, forgiveness is not merely an action, but a transformative process of the soul. Forgiveness is a conscious decision to free oneself from suffering, and it brings peace and tranquility to both the person who forgives and the one who is forgiven. Forgiveness is not a weakness. One of the biggest misconceptions about forgiveness is that it is an act of weakness or a failure to face the truth. In reality, forgiveness is a powerful action, a proactive decision to release negative emotions and not let them control our lives. Forgiveness is a voluntary, conscious act of someone determined to free themselves from the dominion of the past and move toward the future. It requires immense spiritual strength because a person must overcome feelings of being hurt and negative emotions such as anger or sadness. Only when we surpass ourselves can we forgive sincerely and wholeheartedly. Forgiveness does not mean agreeing with wrongdoing. Another misconception about forgiveness is that it means accepting or overlooking someone's wrongdoing. Forgiveness does not mean agreeing with what the other person has done, nor does it justify their wrong actions. Forgiveness is not about excusing bad actions, but freeing the soul from anger, hatred, or resentment toward those who have caused harm. Buddhism teaches us that we need to maintain compassion and understanding when facing the wrongdoings of others. Forgiveness does not mean we excuse the responsibility of the wrongdoer, but it is a way of ensuring that hatred does not trap us in pain. Forgiveness is for healing ourselves, not to make others feel relieved. Forgiveness is liberation from suffering. One of the important purposes of forgiveness is to help us free ourselves from suffering. Resentment, anger, and other negative emotions are like a burden we carry in our hearts. If we do not forgive, we become trapped in a cycle of hatred, pain, and disappointment. Each time we remember the harm, those negative emotions are revived, causing more pain and making it even harder to move forward. Forgiveness helps us stop living in the past and frees us from being controlled by those wounds. Instead, we can live freely and peacefully in the present. Forgiveness is a way of ending the self-imposed punishment. When we forgive, we free our minds from the burden of suffering. The role of forgiveness in spirituality. In Buddhism, forgiveness is one of the important virtues that contribute to helping people achieve liberation and peace. Forgiveness not only resolves conflicts in human relationships, but also serves as a means to overcome mental afflictions and bring us closer to enlightenment. Buddha teaches that only when we can forgive everyone without discrimination and also forgive ourselves can we achieve tranquility in our hearts. One key element of forgiveness is compassion. Compassion in Buddhism is not only love, but also understanding and sharing the suffering of others. When we forgive, we are expressing compassion toward those who have hurt us, understanding that they too have weaknesses, pain, and suffering. Practicing forgiveness is a journey of expanding our compassion, learning to love not only our loved ones, but also those who have harmed us. Forgiveness in relationships. In relationships, whether in family, friendship, work, or community, forgiveness can be the deciding factor in maintaining harmony and happiness. Every relationship faces challenges, disputes, and misunderstandings. But if each person in the relationship can forgive one another, we can build lasting and loving bonds. Forgiveness in relationships does not mean tolerating serious mistakes, but it is the willingness to open our hearts and allow others the opportunity to amend and change. In families, forgiveness is crucial for family members to live in harmony and love. Without forgiveness, families will be full of discord and suffering. In friendships, forgiveness strengthens the bond and makes the relationship more resilient. In reality, no relationship is free of challenges, but forgiveness is the key to overcoming these challenges and ensuring the growth of friendship. Forgiveness in Buddhism and other religions. Although forgiveness is a universal concept, each religion and spiritual tradition has its own approach to it. In Buddhism, Forgiveness is not just an action, but a spiritual process that helps us free ourselves from suffering and move closer to enlightenment. Buddha teaches that all of our actions can create karma, and forgiveness is the way to free ourselves from bad karma and create good karma. In Christianity, forgiveness also plays a vital role, especially in following the example of Jesus Christ, who forgave those who crucified him. In Hinduism, Judaism, and other religions, forgiveness is considered a noble moral value that helps people live in harmony and peace. Forgiveness is not just an external action, but also an inner spiritual process, a journey of transforming the soul to free ourselves from suffering. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is the key to living a lighter, freer, and more loving life. When we forgive, not only do others benefit, but we too are healed and step into a space of peace and tranquility. Namo Buddhaya. The Noble Eightfold Path, the path to peace and liberation. The Noble Eightfold Path is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism, serving as a guide that leads individuals from suffering to liberation and inner peace. When the Buddha identified ignorance and wrongful actions as the root causes of suffering, he introduced the Noble Eightfold Path as a method to transform one's mind and actions, enabling people to live mindfully and achieve serenity. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 essential elements, each closely connected to different aspects of daily life. Though practicing all 8 factors requires time and effort, they provide a solid foundation for a life free from greed, hatred, and delusion, as well as other negative influences. Right view, the foundation of the path. The first factor of the Noble Eightfold Path is right view, which serves as the foundation for all other elements. It is the ability to clearly understand the nature of existence, life, and reality. The Buddha taught that to attain peace, we must develop a correct understanding of 3 fundamental truths: impermanence, suffering, and the absence of a fixed self. Impermanence, anicca. Everything in this world is constantly changing. Physical matter, emotions, and even our own existence go through cycles of birth, aging, illness, and death. When we realize the transient nature of all things, we stop clinging to fleeting pleasures and instead cultivate a tranquil mind that remains undisturbed by change. Suffering, dukkha. Everything in life is inherently unsatisfactory because nothing can bring lasting fulfillment. Whether it is wealth, fame, or love, all forms of happiness are temporary, eventually leading to dissatisfaction, disappointment, or fear of loss. Recognizing suffering helps us face reality without fear or despair. Non-self, anatta. There is no permanent, independent self. We are not isolated beings, but rather the result of continuous interactions with our surroundings. Understanding non-self allows us to let go of ego-driven attachments and live harmoniously with others. Right view is about deep comprehension and seeing reality as it truly is, free from illusions and misconceptions. It is the first step toward true peace because, without a correct perspective on life, we cannot live in harmony or find lasting serenity. Right intention. Cultivating wholesome thoughts after developing right view. The next step is right intention, which refers to thinking in a way that aligns with wisdom and compassion. Our thoughts influence our actions and emotions, and the Buddha taught that suffering arises from incorrect thinking. Only through cultivating wholesome thoughts can we transform our lives. Right intention consists of 3 key aspects. The intention of compassion. This involves fostering kindness, love, and a genuine concern for the well-being of others. When we cultivate compassionate thoughts, we not only wish to help others, but also aspire for all beings to experience happiness and peace. The intention of non-harm. This means eliminating thoughts of hatred, anger, and revenge. By refusing to harbor resentment, we prevent suffering for both ourselves and those around us. The intention of renunciation. This is the intention to overcome greed and the constant craving for possessions. Greed is one of the main causes of suffering, as it creates a feeling of lack and dissatisfaction. Letting go of excessive desires allows us to experience true contentment. Right intention reshapes our perspective and emotional responses, helping us develop a peaceful mind that remains unaffected by negative emotions. Right speech. Speaking with mindfulness. One of the most powerful tools we possess is speech. Right speech encourages us to use words in a way that promotes harmony and avoids harm. The Buddha emphasized the importance of speaking truthfully and mindfully. as words can either create peace or cause conflict. Right speech consists of 4 principles: speaking truthfully. Honesty is the foundation of trust and integrity. Even small lies can erode relationships and lead to distrust. Speaking the truth fosters sincerity and respect. Speaking harmoniously. Our words should promote unity and kindness rather than division or hostility. When we speak gently and with goodwill, we contribute to a peaceful and supportive environment. Speaking beneficially. Words should be meaningful and contribute positively to others. Encouraging, uplifting, or informative speech is valuable, whereas harmful or pointless chatter should be avoided. Avoiding idle talk. Engaging in gossip or meaningless conversations can distract the mind and create unnecessary conflicts. Being mindful of our speech helps us focus on what truly matters. Practicing right speech leads to healthier relationships and a more peaceful state of mind. Right action, ethical conduct. Right action involves behaving in a way that upholds moral integrity and avoids harming others. The Buddha taught that our actions not only affect ourselves, but also impact those around us. Living ethically brings harmony and prevents suffering. Right action includes 3 essential moral principles: